talking about very serious technology topics. I'd like to welcome Mr. Brian Chu, CEO of the Smart Local, to talk about his challenge. Brian, I believe your first challenge is about powering hyperlocal publishers with e-commerce.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, thanks so much for the introduction.
Yeah, hi.
We've changed the angle a bit, so it's easy to understand. So,
yeah, now I'm going to call it a Sky Scanner for activities, I believe. So maybe you can just explain to our audience. Yeah.
Maybe I'll start with that already. Is that fine?
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead. Yeah.
So let me share my screen. 1 second. Okay, so everybody can see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see. Okay. Yeah, I can see our slides. Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe just a brief introduction about for people who do not know us. TSL is made of 4 different companies with about 150 employees, a lot of young people, and we're doing pretty well to the point where we have quite a lot of reserves, and we want to use these reserves to invest to get further ahead. And we want to invest specifically in tech related to media. So maybe the first thing I want to say is that we have already participated in one earlier OIP round, and we've already committed about 100K to a particular boutique tech company who is working on a project with us. So we are serious about this and we want to do more. Okay, so there are 2 ways I think that you can work together with us. One could be with the usual OIP route, where it's essentially a contract. There's a amount of money given, and then after that the tech is handed over to us. The other route is if you guys think that there's potential for this to go beyond this job and you want to capture some of the upside, then you can have that conversation with us about whether you want the minority equity share and whatnot. So those are the 2 ways to work together, and probably the latter part would be better for companies who are small boutique companies, rather than big MNCs, tech solution providers. Okay, so something else I want to add, that if you have an existing solution already for this, or you build something like 70% there or 60% there, it's completely fine. You would just have to build the the remaining 30% or whatever and customize it and whatnot to make it work. But we don't really want the product to just be a reskin. There has to be new features and functionality added. Okay, so maybe the first problem statement I want to talk about is Sky Scanner for lifestyle. So what does this mean? So Sky Scanner is an extremely helpful, useful tool that people use whenever they want to travel. They want to find the best rates, right? So you hop over the Sky Scanner, then you enter the destination, then you get a whole bunch of rates. And then you can find the best flights. I think I personally used to use this a lot until I got on the home miles game program. But essentially, this I think has tremendous value to people. And what we want to do is then, how can we go and use the same sort of technology or same sort of idea and then have it also applied to a different industry, let's say lifestyle. So there are so many partners right now in this space, for example, who are providing such, not the aggregation service which Skyscanner provides, but they all are trying to get that acquisition, be it Klook, be it KKday, and so on, and also many European and American companies. So what if we had the ability to aggregate everything and then give people the choice to go and make the best deals? We already do have many partnerships with Klook and whatnot, essentially. So that's really locked in. All we are then offering users is the additional, I guess, feature of comparing the prices in a very easy manner. For example, USS. For example, if they want to have a staycation, immediately compare through Booking.com or Agoda and whatnot, all at one shot. And how we earn is through affiliate. Yeah. So that's one part of the functionality. It is the aggregation, is the value provided to users to find the best price, because there are so many, which are essentially interchangeable brokers, merchants out there. The second part is to have some sort of loyalty program, so that apart from just offering the value of aggregation and picking the best prices, we are also offering some sort of incentive for them to want to always continue using our site, right? So Shopify has something like this, where they have a discovery page. For TSL, it will be a bit different, because we don't really need a discovery page, because our content is essentially the discovery page, and we have so much content. Every year, we get over 200 million page views across our media properties, and Singapore has a population of 6 million, so 200 million is a lot of page views. And we are essentially will just weave in that Skyscanner shopback kind of ish module inside whenever we're doing a listicle. For example, what are 10 things you can do in November, right? And then boom, people can make instant conversion, instant purchases. So that is our goal. Um, there are variations of this in other websites around the world. For example, in Japan, there's this company called Kakaku. It is very successful to the point where they've also invested in Singapore companies like Money Smart and Love Bonito. So it is a business model, which is very sound and it works. So what are the core features? Well, one would be like some sort of member landing page for members to go in, and a user login page essentially. There has to be a listing page. There has to be an affiliate and aggregation system as well. How would this work best? We imagine that if there's some sort of Chrome extension, which immediately would tell people, hey, this is maybe if someone is looking for on the Singapore Air website and they're looking for flights, this extension would then pop up and give a notification and say that if you're looking to travel to this country, here are all the other places and here are the rates, and then you also get X% back. So that is, in the ideal world, it will look something like that. I know I might be oversimplifying things, but it would, like, in the ideal world, it would be something like that. Okay, so yes, this is what the user page should look like. You would have earnings, whatnot, and it'll give people incentive to want to continue using TSL. I don't see this just being used for TSL. I see this being a platform which can then be essentially given as a product for or plugin module for any WordPress site around the world to use. So in terms of scalability, this is not just we want to do this not just in Singapore, but maybe all across Southeast Asia first and then around the world. So once the technology should be built with scalability in mind, that it can just be plugged into any website, and then it essentially scours through the database that we have on the back end, and then it gives publishers, another way to monetize. Okay, so this is essentially like what a listing page would look like in details. Okay, what else is there? Yeah, this is what the Chrome extension looks like. I mean, I'm referencing Shopback a lot now because I think what they've built is really quite decent, and I think their valuation is quite high already, so that's great. I do feel that Skyscanner / Lifestyle Twist is going to be quite a game changer. Okay, so that's the first problem statement done.
Okay, Brian, thank you. I guess we want to take a pause here for the audience to actually get a breath and ask a couple of questions for us on this very interesting challenge. So you're looking to build a very Skyscanner-like kind of platform, right? For the smart local. Okay. Yes, we have our very first question of the day, Brian. This comes from Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, and they're asking, are you looking to integrate a payment gateway in the solution? Good question there, Brian.
It would be really what we're also open to suggestions from the vendors. I think it would be as easy as possible if we did not have to handle any payments or any money. I think that's the easiest thing now. But given that the fact that they will get cash back, there has to be some sort of money stored. And I do not know what's the best solution for this. Maybe when a transaction is made, they immediately get the X% back, and then so there has to be some sort, but we're open to hearing what people.
So once again, OIP is very collaboration based. So basically, if you have a solution and you can work with Brian to refine it, if you're a finalist, right? So thank you very much for the question. Okay, any more questions from the floor for Brian's or the Smart Locals first challenge today, the first business challenge today? Anyone? Okay, I'm just gonna hold my breath for 5 seconds. Does anybody have a question for Brian? Okay, if not, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a chance. If you still have questions, right, you can still feel free to post, because Brian's going to hang on and do a second round of presentation. And this is for the second problem statement from the Smart Local. Brian, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Okay, so the second problem statement is a nano KL marketplace. I think there are already some solutions out there in the market like this. Why do we want to enter this space? Well, number one, as you guys noticed from, I don't know if everyone wrote the story that we published recently, but essentially there was an issue, like one of the big issues with talents in the media industry, and this is a very, very real issue, is that there's no transparency when it comes to payment, commissions, and the amount they're supposed to earn and whatnot. And it doesn't happen just in one company. In many, many companies, there's a lot of, sometimes KOLs have said, hey, I'm going to give you 50% of this, and they end up getting 10%. I think in the example or the person that we interviewed, the person said that it was a campaign worth $10,000. She was supposed to get, I think 50%, but she got $1,000 out of that $10,000 campaign. So it's still a very real problem. And we ourselves, why we think we can enter this space? Well, it's because we really have a humongous database of clients that work with us. That's one. We have a very good reputation in the industry. We've never abused us. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna go there. And then what else? What else have we done? We've also, we also have our own pool of talent. So we are so familiar with this space already, and we want to ensure that there are the proper guidelines to also protect talents, essentially. Protect talents, protect companies and whatnot. I think the protection works both ways. And I think, so what's another issue? Well, another issue is, so who do we want to target? We want to start with targeting the nano influencers. How do you define nano? Maybe it's influencers who are willing to do things for free or for very little money. Maybe that's an easy way to go and define that. And there is this problem on the internet, well, not on the internet, but on social media. Sometimes you see stories on Facebook and whatnot, where people would then they will post like an email from like a entitled influencer who wrote in and say, hey, can I have free food at this place? Can you give me free food? I'll do an IG post for you. And that's quite unfortunate, right? And the poor influencer gets shamed or whatever. Because on the other end, on our publisher end, we have restaurants writing to us all the time. Hey, can you do free coverage for us? So there is that supply, right? There is that supply, but it's not being met with the demand correctly. And if there is a platform which actually kind of like matches these two people, like the restaurants who want free stuff and the influencers who want free food, right? Then suddenly you have a very nice match. But of course, it's not just free food, it's like free product samples, attending events and whatnot. So in the best version of this, what we see is a company could go and set up a posting, a job posting or whatnot, engagement posting, and say that, okay, I want you guys to try this new like SK, don't know what SK product, and then you just have to post it on IG. And imagine 50, 100 people, nano influencers, just apply and boom, the company doesn't pay much money. So this is what we want to, the problem that we're trying to solve here, to build a nano KL marketplace. So there are successful brands already out there. I think they're still quite small. I do feel that we have the potential to take a lot of market share very quickly based on our time in the industry and the existing connections that we have, and the fact that we have a whole staple of talents already working with us. So what are the core features? Again, there will be some sort of member page where you can see your transactions, your reviews. There will be listing pages where you can discover the different ads which are being posted. The merchants so that's on the influencer side. The merchants would be able to look at the different talents and maybe like nudge them or ask them to go and apply for a certain job. I think the correct word is invite. Yeah. So it's like a jobs DB, job street, that kind of interface, So KL interface and merchant interface should be different, right? Like job street and jobs DB and whatnot. It will look sort of like this. This is their this is their own user page where they can see the various transactions that they've had in the past and whatnot. Merchants will also be able to see the scores that they've been given from other merchants. They would be able to see their history and their engagement results also. The good thing is we also already have built our own proprietary insights our end tool, which allows us to really accumulate all these stats. So you don't have to worry about the stats section, retrieving the data from Instagram and whatnot, or retrieving the engagement. We actually have a tool that we've already built that already does this. So we're really looking for the platform here. So that's what we want to do. It will look similar to existing solutions out there, of course. What we're looking for, in general, what we're looking for any vendor is that they have a good track record. Maybe they've worked with some notable companies, or you have a decent portfolio to show. What else? This is probably the most important. We really appreciate if the proposal has some customization put into it, because the last time we got our proposals, I think people were sending in just their media kits. They're just sending in their media kits. And I mean, of course, we couldn't go with that because, like, I don't know. It's like for us, it's like a signal that, if, this is like a big project to us. And if, people don't want to put in that sort of investment to just do like a bit of a customization, then yeah, it's a bit hard to go and trust that they'll put that same investment when they do the 100K project, for example, right? So the ones that we all ended up shortlisting were the ones where there was some customization. There was some, you don't have to, it doesn't have to be super elaborate. It doesn't have to be like, the UI done up. No, it could just be like, these are the features that you've requested, and it's possible for us to do this and this and this. We've done something similar like this before. That's what we value the most. It doesn't have to be very long either, even if it's like 10 page, a 10 slide proposal, that's totally fine. It just cannot be generic. It just can't be a media kit. Okay. And I think we've come to the end of the slides.
Wow, Brian, your record speed today. So this is the second problem. Okay, before we go to the questions for this second business challenge, I believe there's a question from Samantha Sim. Thank you, Samantha, for being our top questioner for this round of Innovation Thursday. You win a free coffee from me, all right? Okay, so Samantha is asking for the first challenge that you had just now, your Sky Scanner for activities, right? So what are the main concerns for your first challenge? Brian, do you want to elaborate on that?
Oh wait, my main concerns for the first challenge.
Yeah, the original the Sky Scanner for activities challenge. Yeah.
My main concerns. The main concern. I guess for us the challenge would be, because right now we're kind of like, I don't know if this analogy makes sense to people, but we're kind of like Counter-Strike at the moment. We're kind of like Valve, and we've just published Counter-Strike, and now we want to go and build Steam. So this is where we are at now. We want to we don't just want to be a game anymore. We don't just want to be a publisher. We want to build a platform, right? So that's the biggest challenge, whether it's possible for us to actually do that. Sorry, Billy, I think you're muted at the moment.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I always do that. Okay, so allow me to sort of interpret for the non-first-person shooter game-playing audience, right? So Valve is a publisher of famous titles like Counter-Strike, which is a legendary game, with a lot of team play involved. But they also built a very, very popular, probably the world's #1 game, game sales platform where everybody logs in to download games and all that. So it's called Steam. So basically, Brian's saying that the Smart Local wants to build their own platform to own this category, right? For all this, e-commerce, for hyperlocal, e-commerce and so on. So they are, you could be helping the Smart Local to build this platform, and hopefully it'll go global. Okay, so Samantha, I hope you understand the key concern of Brian's right now. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to return to the second business challenge from the Smart Local, which I would like to call, okay, Brian, you can trademark this, all right? I think you can actually call it the Offer Influencer Platform, or OIP for short. Wait, that sounds very familiar, right? So basically, I'm just kidding, all right? So you call it OIP, but actually OIP beats Open Innovation Platform. So guys, we trademark there. Okay, so we have a question for Brian's second challenge. Brian, I hope you're laughing.
I like it as Open Influencer Platform. That sounds
okay. That sounds good, but OIP we have trademarked, so you gotta call it something else, right? Sorry, guys. Okay, question from the floor, and this is from Anonymous. It says, what are the data that you want to show on the influencer's profile? Good question from the floor. What are the sort of data you want to show on the influencer's profile, Brian?
Yeah, I think, wait, let's take a look at this. I think, yeah, there are quite a lot of quite a lot of sites out there which already have their own ways of displaying data. I think there's one called Star Engage in Singapore. So what sort of data would be showed? I think probably apart from the usual things like, the profile picture, probably a category which I guess maybe the influencer inputs him or herself, the category that they are in. And then after the average engagement, which is automatically calculated, the followers and then the average engagement. I think those would be the most vital stats. And I think we should keep it simple, maybe, like 4 or 5 data points, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Brian. So basically keep the data profile as simple as possible, so it's not overwhelming.
Yeah,
okay.
I forgot to mention, we definitely need the review part as well, the review score. Essentially, I mean, it's like Grab, you go for a ride, and then the rider gives the driver a score. Same thing, because of course, the end goal here is also to improve the professionalism in this industry.
Okay, so basically a whole bunch of 5-star ratings, very common. Okay, we have a very interesting, okay. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, sorry. Okay, we have a very interesting question from Flo Ang. I think, okay, maybe I try to paraphrase the question. Basically, she's asking, who do you consider as a member in a member page? So basically, actually, who can join as a member, whether new influencers or new enterprises? Yeah, maybe that's what she's trying to ask. So who can join as a member of this? Yeah.
Okay, I think so. There are going to be two sort of like two different navigation systems. One is for the employee, like you can think of it as the job site. Like there's always the employer portal, and then there's the employee portal. But in this case, it's like the companies or clients, it's a client portal, and the other portal is the influencer portal. So what would it take? Would there be any requirements? Can anyone just simply sign up? Well, we haven't like thought exactly about the what requirements there would be. There should be probably some on whether we're going to do some moderation. But essentially, anyone should be able to sign up and connect themselves. Then it becomes a free market and people can choose who they want to work with.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Okay, we have one more question from the floor, and I believe this comes from somebody like me, an aspiring nano influencer. Okay, can TSL share what are the considerations when matching nano influencers with enterprises? Brian?
Okay, well, I think it really depends. I imagine that this is not going to be, this portal is not going to be super helpful for those big MNCs because they probably want to be using KOLs with a lot higher following. And the issue with KOLs with a lot of higher following, there's a lot of, client management involved because, for example, Cristiano Ronaldo is not going to be on this platform, because Instagram post, Instagram post with him, it's probably $1 million, right? So it's like likewise, for posts with in like the 5,000, 10,000 range, it's not the market that we're gunning for at all. Ours is really probably less than 1,000. We are looking at scale here essentially. We're helping all these SMEs, and there are a lot of SMEs because these are the clients who are writing in. They open a new shop, maybe like a new fancy hawker place with a modern twist, and then they want people to come down, they want to get the word out, they don't have much budget, so sometimes they end up writing to influencers who are very popular, and most of the time they always get ignored because these popular influencers get a lot of requests. So who can they go to next, right? It will probably be the less popular ones. And they are less popular, but at least there's a match, like less popular and the client not willing to pay, then it's we make a match. So that's the that's the exact demographic that we're gunning for here.
Okay, so sounds like you just need enough information to matchmake the needs of the the companies with the influencers who have the right expertise and the right coverage and so on, right? So just enough to match. Okay.
I mean, we do want to facilitate marketing at maybe like at a less MNC corporate level as well, so SMEs also can make use of this.
Okay. Maybe I just ask one question on behalf of again aspiring nano influencers, right? So basically, would you mandate the use of AI for this recommendation engine?
No, not strictly, because this one I'm not sure if it was announced yet, but I think TSL is doing most of the funding, so we don't have to follow that AI requirements for this particular OIP. So yeah, if the resources can be used on something else, please allocate the resources as so. Our main challenge, and I mean the main thing we want is to build technology, to build IP.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Also, I can see that there are no more questions from the floor, so maybe just do a last call. Anybody else has a question for Brian from the Smart Local? Any other questions for the 2 business challenges for the Smart Local? If not, I think we can let Brian off the hook. Thank you very much, Brian Chu. See you on the Smart Local. So all the best to your 2 challenges. I look forward to all the exciting submissions for a challenge, right, Brian? All the best. Thank you very much.
Thanks so
much. I hope to see you soon. Thank you.